Hello, everyone. This is the cool otaku, excuse me. And this week we're supposed to talk about how the earthquake and tsunami in Japan affected us. Well, of course, since I live in the United States, it didn't affect me nearly as much, and neither do I live on like the West Coast or Hawaii, where they did see a little bit of tsunami from it. But when it happened, how I first learned about it, which what I'll tell you about, is from another contributor to this channel, from Nemu, and he had tweeted about, oh, there's a giant earthquake or something. I'm like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And then I started seeing it on the news, and everybody was tweeting about it. And then I turned on CNN, and I was watching the Al Jazeera English stream on their website online. I turned on CNN, and they were both had about the same pictures. It was coming from a news channel in Japan called NHK or NKH, one of those. And so I put it on the TV on CNN because it was a bigger picture, and I just started seeing like the tsunami and like it coming in, and it was just like, yeah, I mean, it was really like, and I'm like, holy shit. It was crazy. And I think I said something about the tsunami. Last time I remember seeing the crazy tsunami stuff was when it hit like in Indonesia. And I was thinking it was longer ago than it was, but I guess it was in like 2004. And that one was almost like, because I remember seeing like video like of like people getting swept away in that one. Like, because like basically Japan has, higher economic, development than that country did. So they had a lot of like housing, like ramshackle housing on the ocean and on like the little river inlet places. So I mean, it was just kind of devastating that. But to see from the helicopter in Japan, it was sweeping away houses, cars were nothing, boats, everything. And the thing I'll never forget, there was like a building or two buildings like on fire, like sweeping across in the tsunami waters, just like going over shit. And it was like, holy shit. And of course, since I'm friends with Nim and he lives in Japan, I was a little more concerned normally about him, but luckily he was in Tokyo and not on one of the coast things. So that's kind of how it affected me, really. It didn't affect me it did kind of affect me personally more so than some people, because I actually do know, him, and we've been talking back and forth for, a while, so I consider him one of my friends. So, there's more concern. I'm concerned about, Japan as a whole, but personally knowing someone makes it even worse. Like, are they okay? And I twittered back and forth with him a little bit about it, and so he was safe, and I think he found out his family was safe, which is good. But then after that, like, you just start seeing the aftermath of things, like with the nuclear power plants going crazy over there now. Is like, oh, that's crazy. And like one of them now, they said, is going to be worse than 3 Mile Island was here. So that's bad news for them. And on another note, which I don't mean to be sounding selfish, is the only problem that I have is that this is going to scare people away from using nuclear power. And whatever your opinion is on it, I think it's safer overall than what's led on to believe. A lot of people are just scared by the whole concept of the radiation and everything. If you think about like all the nuclear reactors we do have now, they're probably, at least here in the States, are way older. If they built new ones, they would be a lot safer and have a lot more redundancies and things like that, and it wouldn't be as dangerous as a lot of people think. I think that is the problem, and it would help us with our, needs for power, okay? But that's a whole other video. But yeah, I feel for those, those affected by that. The radiation now, apparently it's leaking out. Hopefully it's not going to get too bad and they can contain it. And the scary part is that Japan is probably the most earthquake prepared nation in the world, is at least what I've heard. And it makes sense because they are very earthquake prone. And to still see how this can affect them is scary. So it seems like no matter how prepared you can be for something like this, it's out of your hands for the most part. You can only do so much. And and you know, some reports and people were saying, and I think this is true, is if it wasn't Japan and this happened, it would be way worse than it turned out to be. So that's the only thing you can kind of be thankful for. But I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, thank goodness we survived. No, it would be more thankful if there wasn't an earthquake, in my opinion. But you kind of try to like look on the bright side about it. So that's kind of how it affected me. I'm sure some anime manga people, like I know I seen a lot of people post, because I put a video up right after, just to let everybody know. I figured most people did because I was up and I couldn't go to sleep because I kept watching all these images and worrying about stuff at like 2 in the morning. So I put up a video on YouTube about it, and you know, just to get the word out and everything. Not trying to sensationalize it and stuff, but even then, you know, some people were like, oh, are we going to have One Piece? Are we going to have this? What's up with the manga? I'm like, ultimately, that stuff's important long term for like their economy and everything like that. But right now, what you have to worry about is, are there going to be more earthquakes, which there have been tons of aftershocks, and some of which were really big. And what I consider big is like anything over a 6 is pretty big earthquake, in my opinion. And there's tons of them, the nuclear power plants, more tsunamis, stuff like that. So obviously, you know, concerned if Oda and Kubo and Kishimoto and everybody else is okay is one thing. But to worry if they're going to release manga, they're going to blah, blah, blah. You know, that's not important. So all you guys doing that. And of course you can't help but have the jokes or the, you know, the comments about, oh, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, blah, blah, blah. Because of course they have the power of the earthquake. So it's kind of, but you know, you kind of try to hold off on something like that because at this point they didn't even know how many people were missing. I think in part really don't know now. Even still, can't be 100% sure of the dead or the missing right now. So just try to think about that, and hopefully that they can rebuild. And being as they're the 3rd largest economy in the world, I think it's going to be a little bit better on them than say somewhere like Haiti or something. You know, so. Even though it sucks now, I think that they can be able to get back on their feet a lot quicker than some places. But you see how New Orleans was with Katrina. Like, it took them a while to get back on their feet. So we'll have to wait and see how Japan handles it. Hopefully that they step up and handle it well. And I'm, you know, wishing them the best in that instance. What else? I mean, that's about it, really. I mean, if you don't get a One Piece chapter or episode or whatever, then that's not that big a deal in comparison to loss of life and devastation. Oh, and then later Nim like tweeted like these little mini videos I guess he took in the grocery store in Tokyo, and how people were like well, maybe not overreacting, but like a little bit. Like you go in there and there was like nothing in the store. People were like buying up and hoarding the food and everything, so people couldn't get anything. So that's kind of scary to think of what happened. But it doesn't seem like there was any like rioting or like violence or something from this, which is good, because I think over here there probably would have been some violence and rioting going down, in my opinion. So who knows? What else? So yeah, that was kind of scary to see. Like, so it affected them too, because like it destroyed or jeopardized a lot of the infrastructure of Japan, far-reaching, even more so than the earthquake's physical, because they shut down all the trains. They're having rolling blackouts over there because of like the nuclear power plants offline and other stuff. So, and like traffic was congested as hell, like roads and shit are destroyed. And a lot of that was tsunami ridden looked like it was like farmland stuff, so it might hurt that agriculture. So even if you weren't like directly affected, you're going to be indirectly affected probably for a while by this. So that's horrible. But like I said, it's good that an 8.9 did not happen like in the middle of Tokyo, because the devastation and loss of life would have probably been far greater, because it's a huge city with, you know, tall buildings and all that, and people everywhere, even with the, you know, the safety measures that are included. So, yeah, it was just shocking, and just like to see it on the news and to see it almost as it happened, really, because I was awake. I didn't wake up the next day and see it. I seen it like right when it happened. And aside from like actually being there, that's probably about the best that you're gonna get, that you could get, you know. And like I said, nothing, no matter how it affected me, is nowhere near as much as it probably affected him or even other people, even more than him in Japan. So that's with that. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I want to try to be this like somber video, but I don't want it to be like, you know. So I think it would be good if they do get their manga and anime back, because it'll give people something to take their minds off of it. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it's not that important, but that's kind of why we do have entertainment and arts and stuff like that, because it does help relieve some stress and take your minds off of stuff that is burdening. I can't fucking talk today. Burdening you. Okay. So that's all I really gotta say, guys. Wait for Nim's video tomorrow. You'll probably get to see how it affected someone actually in Japan and see how that was and everything like that. Alright, guys. That's horrible, and hopefully Japan will get back on their feet soon and everything will be better. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out everybody else's video and let me know what your thoughts on this whole thing were. Alright, guys. Bye.